Everything becomes beauty at that level, that Siddhi level. So that's why it's called a divine gift. You don't just get there. It's not like, you come out of the shadow, you put a few paintings out and you're like, yeah, I'm beauty now. It's going to take a bit more time, but at some level, at some point in your life, you're just going to be, your sheer existence is going to be beauty. You're not going to have the shadow anymore. That's going to be long gone. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm glad you're back, and for the new people, welcome, welcome. I help people see through what's hidden. So when you're in a situation, most of the time, you don't see the bigger picture, or you don't see what's hidden or why this is happening to you. So I'm really good at shedding light on the darkness to give you a different perspective so that you can be in a different frame of mind when it comes to finding a solution and implementing a solution to either your lifestyle, your diet, your exercise, your purpose in life, or whatever transition that you want to make in your life. So welcome. In the first few videos, I decided to speak about my favorite book for now, at this time, this moment, the most relevant book for what's happening to us. We're going to go through an evolution, all of us, and this book is going to help every single one of us hit our full potential and bring out our genius through the Gene Keys. So a little recap. The Gene Key is a book by the founder, Richard Rudd, and I decided to make a few videos about the book so that you see exactly how we evolve and which aspects we need to work on. So, Gene Key numero uno. Let's start with that one. So again, what is the Gene Key? It's on a 64-bit matrix and it's part of the I-Ching. I-Ching, also Yi-Ching, or the Book of Changes, is thought to be the oldest and most abstruse classic in Chinese history. Reputedly, it originated with Fu Xi, who is a mystical sovereign being, the first of three primogenitors of Chinese civilization. The Chinese I-Ching is one of the greatest spiritual books of all time, written down thousands of years ago by a legendary Chinese emperor called Fu Xi. It encapsulates a binary code that charts all the seasons and cycles of life. In this book, these life processes were measured by a simple code of 6 lines, either male or female, and mixed together in a total 64 combinations. Taken from Wikipedia, the I-Ching influence. The I-Ching, Yi-Ching, or Classic of Changes, which dates from over 3,000 years ago, is believed to be one of the world's oldest books. The two major branches of Chinese philosophy, Confucianism and Taoism, have common roots in the I-Ching. So that's what the I-Ching is. So this book is based on the I-Ching, amongst other things. It's proven in history that there are secret teachings and that they were used back in the day. The lower frequency of the first Gene Key, the first shadow, is entropy. So what is entropy? Entropy is the lack of energy. It's basically when there's no energy available. So you want to be active, you want to be creative, you want to be out there and be a go-getter, but there's no energy, and this has happened to most of us. You can also call it a measure of disorder. So a measure of disorder or the unavailability of energy. So the more there's entropy, the less energy there is. So you can be on a low-level entropy or on a high-level entropy. But bottom line, entropy means there's no energy. So it can be like crazy vacuum or just silent mode and there's nothing. The universe appears to have one single direction, and that direction is going from order to chaos. So just how you plant a tree, at first it's nice and pretty and you can calculate the stems and, count them all. And then later, let's say you come back 10 years later, well, that tree is all over the place. So just like a little example, it's not that, it's not supposed to do that. It is supposed to do that. The universe has one direction, and that's from order to chaos. The first shadow keeps the entire planet living at a low level of frequency. It is like a blanket thrown across our civilization. According to our mind, we cannot do anything about entropy. That is our chief problem. Human beings do not generally accept themselves, and when you convert entropy into human feeling, it becomes a kind of deep numbness or sense of gloom. So, entropy is the opposite of love. Here, we learn about the nature of duality. Life cannot exist without polarity. So within this polarity, we have the shadow at one end of the spectrum and the Siddhi at the other. Entropy is the black hole to creativity's white hole. I like that. So entropy is the black hole to creativity's white hole. And the first gene key is about creativity. Entropy is an extremely fertile state of awareness. It comes on suddenly, and if you accept it fully, without pushing it away, it also disappears as fast. So entropy and creativity are an eternal dance the universe plays out. So eternal. You have energy, then you rest. You have energy, and then you rest. So entropy is as important as syntropy. Just like the weather, one day you can wake up and it can be sunny, and the other day it can be rainy. So there's no way of predicting when you're going to feel entropy and when you're going to feel energy. So there are theories out there why we feel the way we feel. There are theories. So it's not like, oh, we don't know why we're sad. We know why we're sad. But sometimes you just don't have energy. Like sometimes everything could go very well for you, but you just want to chill in your bed and just stuff your face with chips, or like, I'm not saying you should do that, but that's what you feel like doing. So when you feel like doing that, know that it's your season of entropy. It's your season of not being that productive. You can rest and you see the lack of energy. So rest, go with it. And once you see that the energy is building up, and it's building up because you are resting, you are recharging, you'll start feeling like you want to get out. You'll start feeling like you want to, put makeup on and make videos. You're going to feel like doing something. You're going to have that motivation, that calling, that boost of, hey, let's go see what's out there. It's going to come to you, but not if you don't rest during entropy. So this first shadow appears in your life whenever you feel sad, bummed out, or just low energy, or don't feel like doing anything, or numb. That's when the shadow kicks in. This is a chemical process that the body goes into. So it's not something that you can control per se. It is chemically affecting you. And if you try to comprehend it, fix it, push it away, or just bypass it, then the natural process will not complete itself. You will be fragmented. So that's why they say go with the flow. It's not just for fun. It's really literally go with the flow. There's a wave, hit the wave. There's no wave and it's a calm lake, float. So if you resist this state mentally, you're going to interfere with the process. You're going to lock yourself into a depression. You're going to say, I can't fix this because, I'm not feeling well. I feel numb. I feel down. Something's wrong with me. Let me take a pill. Let me go see a doctor. Let me do something about it. Fix it. And then the doctor is going to say, well, buddy, you're depressed. Or, you're going to categorize yourself as depressed because there's nothing you can do about it at the time. So when you do that, well, guess what? Now you've just labeled yourself as depression, and now we have a whole disease to take care of, or a whole illness to take care of. So that's why it's really important to just go with it. Don't label it. Just don't be negative about it, because tell yourself this is a chemical process. It's ingrained in your DNA. You're supposed to feel entropy at times in your life. that's why they're called seasons of your life, seasons of change, cycles of changes, like the I-Ching book. So again, entropy, nothing to be afraid of. You just go with it. If you feel numb, well, give yourself a vacation. You're probably long overdue. So most depressive states are caused by us repressing our shadows. Depending on your individual genetic predisposition, you may be more or less prone of feeling lower than others. So this is why I recommend receiving your hologenetic profile. So hypothetically, let's say this gene key is definitely inside of your golden path, one of the gene keys you have to hit. Well, know that, hey, this is happening more to me than it's happening to other people. Why am I often depressed or down when others are jumpy and high vibe and not depressed, full of creativity, full of love, full of energy, syntropy? So why am I always bummed out? Why am I always down? Why is it always dark in my world and lack of energy and low vibe? Well, now you know. It's in your genetic, it's in your astrological path. And totally fine. Now you can be like, hey, every time this happens to me, I'm just gonna chill. I'm not gonna fight it anymore. It's my life path. Maybe I'm an extremely creative person, and because I'm always putting out so much creativity, I actually have to rest. I do have to take the downtime so that I can, create even better, even more. Now that I'm not struggling with it anymore, now that I accept that it's part of my destiny, it's part of my genetics, I do have a lot of entropy in my life. So this is wonderful. And again, don't fight it, because if you fight it, you're going to label it as depression. So embrace it. Call it a staycation. A vacation, a staycation. You stay at home. You just pretend you're in a resort. The resulting feelings or lack of feeling and or enthusiasm provide a delicate environment for something quite special to occur. If you are patient enough to allow it, this sometimes is the creative process. In other words, your low energy means that something intangible is gestating inside you, even though you cannot yet see it. Only when the state mutates to its expressive state will you see what the process is about. These low times in your life are therefore very special times, and they generally require aloneness and withdrawal in order for the seeds sprouting inside you to germinate. As you can see, it's a wonderful thing. Everything about this book is just so optimistic. So all your shadows, like even the worst of the worst, there's beauty in them, which is awesome. The world of duality. Both of them are needed. So because of this first shadow, humanity is not at the level it's supposed to be when it comes to creativity. And it's because of the collective denial of entropy. So when the whole collective denials entropy and says it's not good to be depressed, get out there and do more work and stop resting, and you don't need to sleep right now. You're too young to sleep right now. You can sleep when you're at my age. How many times we've heard that one? Oh, you're too young. You should be out there every day. What's going on? We've heard those. So that's why the collective is where it's at. That's why we're not a bunch of people creating. Only I heard like 10% of the population creates. So the 90% doesn't create, just reuses whatever is out there already. Maybe they create on a daily basis. Like when I was in a very routine-oriented job, I would make my coworkers' days better by smiling and being upbeat and bringing good vibe into the office. But that's kind of as limited as you'll be. Like you don't have 10 hours to come out with a masterpiece. So this shadow can only be resolved and accepted at the individual level. So you can only fix this on your own. No one else can do it for you. So that's why when you're feeling down, you're going to know if this is going to take a week, if it's going to take a day, or if it's just, I'm feeling really, really numb now and I got to just disconnect from the world. So only you would be able to tell this. No one else from the outside will be able to investigate and see exactly how many days you need to sleep or how many days you need to stay in and disconnect. They're not going to be able to help you. They're just going to want to push you out just to boost some energy into you. Again, you want to go with the flow of nature. I can't emphasize how important nature is, the laws of nature, the laws of the universe. So if it's not time, it's not time. You're not ripe yet. And that takes a lot of courage, patience, and trust. So, be confident in yourself and meditate what's keeping you down, what's keeping you numb. And if you don't know, then just go with it. You don't need to really investigate. You can just trust the process. So only when you fully embrace the entropy can you fully be creative. So in other words, if you half-ass your entropy, you're going to half-ass your creation. So again, when entropy hits and you really feel like disconnecting, disconnect 100%. The deeper you go within, the deeper you go into the darkness, the deeper you're going to come out into the light. So, only you can tell how deep this needs to go. Okay, so the shadow has two categories: repressive nature and reactive nature. So repressive nature and reactive nature. For the repressive nature, the shadow turns into depression. So again, if you repress it, you're going to turn it into a depression. The introverted nature of the shadow inevitably leads to depression. States of depression can be caused by the freezing of a low-frequency emotional state due to mental collapse rooted in fear. Once fear takes over the physical system, the entropy goes on pulling more and more energy away from the surface of one's life. So let's say you're in an entropy level and you're introvert, manifesting this shadow, and you're going towards a depression because you're trying to control it out of fear. So you're introverted, you're like, this is not normal, this is depression. Problem numero uno. Such states can occur at different levels. Some can be permanent, others sporadic, some can leave one bedridden, others can simply take away the glitter in one's eye. Once a depressive state has been fixed, it can only be broken by the individual and without help. So again, once you label yourself as depressed, only you can get yourself out of it. Only you can say, you know what, I'm actually not depressed. I'm actually good. I'm not depressed. Or I'm going to do this and this and this, and I'm going to get myself out of depression. But only you can do that, because people don't know that you're depressed. People can just think you're low energy. You're just not having a good day. No one's going to be able to get you out of depression other than yourself. So the individual stuck in this repressive state, depression, must get themselves out by facing the fear that got themselves in it in the first place. So they have to see exactly why they label themselves depressed and face that fear head on. Like, what is it? What's that fear keeping me from becoming my full potential of creativity, of love? The opposite of entropy is love. So what can I do? What is preventing me from pumping creativity and love into this world? Like, what is it, right? So you can slowly, by meditating, and if it takes days, it is what it is. Take as much time as you want, because you're in the entropy phase anyway, so take your time. Nothing else is happening, so why not? That's the best time to see exactly why you're feeling the emptiness and the numbness. So the other nature of the shadow is reactive nature. So the reactive nature is the complete opposite. It's frenetic. So those are the people where when entropy hits them, they freak out. They call everybody, they make plans, they buy tickets. They're like, I gotta go on a trip. I gotta fight this because I feel like I'm becoming depressed. So I gotta do something about this. So let's go for a marathon, right? Let's do the opposite of how I'm feeling. And that's the frenetic. The reactive side of the shadow manifests as a frenetic urge to escape the way one is feeling at all cost. Instead of moving in harmony with entropy by closing their doors and being alone, these people immediately increase the activity and contact with others. They become frenetic in their bid to suppress what is going on inside them, and can become engaged in wild schemes or locked in monotonous patterns that quickly undermine their health. Such people put themselves in great danger because they are moving in the opposite direction from the chemistry of their bodies, because they're going against the flow. They're not going with the flow. They're literally going against the flow. And that causes disease, illness. Suppressing it will lead to backlash. Their urge to escape their feelings opened them to all kinds of illness in their body that would otherwise never have troubled them. Out of the darkness, suddenly light emerges. Suddenly light emerges. And just like the weather, one day it'll be sunny, one day it'll be gloomy, and then, let's say it's rainy for 5 days, and then bam, suddenly it's beautiful, the birds are chirping, the animals are out, humans are out, the plants are vibing, and everyone's having a blast. Suddenly, just like that. This joy comes as unexpectedly as the sadness does, but with the joy also comes the need to express it. So with this joy comes the need to express it. When you suddenly feel joyous, when you suddenly feel like you're boosted of energy, if you suddenly feel like you're love and you want to just blast out some love, that's where creativity starts bubbling. And especially express it through your voice or through your art. So this specific creativity wants to be expressed, especially through your voice or through your art. So the first gift is called the gift of freshness. Because whatever emerges out of that entropy is fresh. It's new, it's fresh. So freshness conveys aliveness. This is exactly how people empowered by the first gene key expresses themselves. So this first gift can perform wonders among small groups, family groups, or like friends groups, or small organization. So as you raise your frequency through this first gift, you're going to be most likely singled out by others. People are going to notice you, you're going to stand out, you're going to get singled out. Because you're standing above everybody else now. People are going to be in entropy, they're going to be frustrated, and they're going to have some sunlight, and they're going to go back to the darkness, sunlight, darkness. They're not going to know what's going on, why they're feeling like this. They're just going to be confused from order to chaos, right? Although you're going to use this to your advantage. You're going to say, you know what? Last month I was feeling low, and this month I'm feeling extremely, extremely full of energy. And I'm going to use that to my advantage. Now I'm going to talk. Now I'm going to say what I have to say. I'm going to express myself. I'm going to create. And people are going to listen because it's my time to shine. Aliveness, freshness. And that's why people are going to listen, because it's fresh. If you're going to say something you've said 1,000 times already, it's not fresh anymore. And you might not even want to say it again because you've already said it a bunch of times. So you're not going to have that boost of, hey, let me say something. Hey, I got something to say, teacher. Right? It's not going to be that energetic. So these people have figured it out. These people know when to stay in and chill and when to blast off.
8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff of Space Shuttle Atlantis, the final visit to enhance the vision of Hubble into the deepest grandeur of our universe.
And this is where natural born leaders also are born, through this creativity, through this gift. As this gift awakens inside your DNA, you will find that you automatically inject life and light into any group of people you are part of. Once the gift level hits your DNA, you're going to see every time you're talking to a group, every time you're going to, express yourself, you're going to be pumping light into the universe, into the people, and energy into the people. You're going to see when people talk to you, they shine, they become bright and brilliant, and they have this glitter because they just spoke to you. So you're going to have that contagious effect on people because you're empowered yourself with this gift. And people will see it as a gift because most people will still be in their shadows, working this out. Versus, let's say you that read this book and that has evolved, know that when it's time to chill, you chill. And when it's time to blast off, you blast off. And that's how you become the natural born leader that you are. And that's how you affect people with your love and light. Freshness is the gift that needs the right environment to bloom. So the people around you are going to give you the center stage when you need it. The environment can't be toxic. Because of course, if the environment's toxic and you're feeling, let's say, entropy in the beginning, they're going to destroy you. It's going to destroy you. The environment's going to be like, why are you the way you are? And that's not going to be able to give you the expressive creativity that you need. It's just going to lead you to a state of depression, numbness, or sadness. But if you have the environment saying, hey, sweetie, it's okay. You need some time off. Take it off. No problem. And then when you come back to the class or to the scene or to your work or to your family or to whatever event that you're supposed to attend, then they're going to say, hey, you know what? I haven't seen you for a while. And then they're going to give you the microphone, the center stage. And then you can bloom. You can express yourself and pump that beauty into the world. That's your cue. But you need the environment. You need open-minded people. You need people that understand this is just a phase. You can't have the very logic-oriented people that don't care about emotions and say, suck it up and go to work. Suck it up and go to school. You can suck it up and go to school, but they can say it in a nicer way. It's, I know you don't feel like going to school today. You're feeling down. Maybe you should just start with a few classes and see how that goes, and then we'll go from there. That should be a better way of saying it than suck it up and go to school. We all have bad days. What's so special about you? So exactly. Open-minded people and an environment that promotes harmony. So once you pump out your creativity, once you express yourself, once you show out your art and your words or your songs or your lecture, your interview or podcast, whatever it is, once you're pumping out that creativity, you're going to need to rest after that. You can maybe pump out a few times in a row before you need that rest, depending on your genetics, depending on, your discipline and how you're used to doing things. Maybe you're just outputting, several times in a row and then go inward for a while. So it depends how, but once you're done with your creativity, it's better to rest. This is why, let's say when rock stars do like 4 albums in a row, well, guess what? The 4th one isn't going to be that good. Because how much creativity can you pump? If you're going to do, let's say, 4 albums in a row, you should do like 1 album a year. But let's just say you do 4 albums in a row. The 4th album can't be that good because you're just forcing the creativity at that point. So the best thing to do is to go through your entropy, then pump out your creativity, go back into entropy, and then pump out your creativity so that you don't burn yourself out and then you don't force your creativity, because creativity has to be coming from inspiration. And when can you get inspired? Normally when you're in entropy level, that's where it's all brewing. So again, if you're pumping, that's why whenever people work so much, they end up burning themselves out, because you can just be so productive. And I strongly believe, and why do you think the first thing I do is my videos in the morning, because that's where I have the most energy. The human being has something like 30 decisions they can make very clearly in a day. After those 30 decisions, you're going to start screwing up. That's why towards the end of the day, you might just burn your food, or you might just, burn your hand, or you might do silly things that you've never done before. You might be like a great cook, but you're like burning your dinner because you're just exhausted from your day. And that's exactly what it is. So just so much output you can have before you start resting for energy. So the gift of freshness relies on one immortal truth. Creativity can never be controlled. Creativity can never be controlled. You try to control that and you're going to see what's going to happen. It's not going to happen. So you can try to control creativity, but it's not going to work. So creativity cannot be controlled. So that's why when you're full of creativity, people gather around you like a fire. Like, they want your warmth, they want your inspiration, you become contagious, they all want that. So you're attracting people. But once that fire dies and just starts flickering, you'll be unnoticeable. People might just walk in front of you and not even notice you're there because you don't have that energy. You're like more like a vacuum. You're like sucking out energy because you kind of need it now. So it's the opposite. So when you're forcing creativity, you're going to compromise yourself and others. So you'll put out stuff that you're not proud of because you're compromising now. Now you're forcing creativity. You want more of it. You want to, let's say you painted something amazing a month ago and now you want to go back to that level and you want to post something so it can go viral. You're not going to be able to force it. You might, have to wait wait till the time is right for you to post something, and maybe that time it'll go viral. So I've been watching or following some YouTube people, and they were saying, like some videos they made, they thought it was going to be horrible. And they were like, oh, I already videotaped it. I mean, edit it. I already did all the work. Let me just post it regardless. And then the next thing you know, that goes viral. And then the videos they think it's gonna do so well. Oh, this was a great video. I'm sure it's gonna have a lot of views. Actually don't. So it's funny how like that works. Also, if you try to control it, it'll just backfire. So this is important. A lot of people don't like being by themselves. A lot of people would like throw themselves in relationships just not to be alone. They'll throw themselves into like groups or whatever. They'll force themselves to go and interact when they don't want to interact because they're afraid of being alone. Now, for someone that loves to be alone, I'm not saying I'm alone, I have a lot of friends, but I love, just being on my own, doing my own thing. Like, look at it this way. Your number one best friend should be yourself. Shouldn't be anybody else. Like, you can have, oh, she's my friend, and he's my friend, and he's my best friend, she's my best friend, definitely. But your ultimate best friend is yourself. So if you can't meditate, like I know some people that say, I'll never be able to meditate. Well, that's, what that means? Because meditating just means to chill and not think about anything and just pause on life, right? So if you can't do that, if you constantly have to go somewhere, if you constantly have to say something, if you constantly have to think something, there is your problem. That means you can't discipline or manage your thoughts. You can't discipline and manage, let's say your time, because now you're constantly looking for things to do. And basically that means you can't sit with yourself. So if you can't sit with yourself for just like, let's say 20 minutes, look at what you're saying. You can't sit with yourself for 20 minutes? That's nothing. You can't like go around not listening to music, not TV, not scrolling through your phone for 20 minutes? That's what you're saying? Because I know some people, they're like, oh, I'll never meditate. Meditation's not for me. Well, that literally says that if you can't sit with yourself at peace for 20 minutes, how do you expect anybody else to do it? How do you expect anyone to sit next to you and feel harmony? Feel the the pleasant aura that you have. They're not. They're going to sit next to you. They're going to feel your agitation. They're going to say, I can't sit next to this person, not even for 5 minutes. And that's what that means. So when you're saying, I can't sit with myself for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, I can't meditate, please, please, please look into that. That is your first cue. Why can't you sit with yourself? Maybe your thoughts are going berserk, but let's start with that. Let's start with controlling your thoughts. So again, for all my people that say I cannot meditate, I beg you to start there. Because again, if you cannot sit with yourself for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, no one else can. Anyone sitting next to you will feel your vibe, will see that you're stressed, they will see that you're not in harmony with yourself, and they're gonna wanna bounce. Very simple. That's why some people are attractive, some people are contagious. It's not necessarily their looks. You can have, let's say, a guy or a woman not having a very symmetrical face or body, and they can be crazy attractive. Crazy. It's not about the Fibonacci, the measurements of your face and where, your eyes are supposed to be in parallel to your nose and in contrast to your mouth or whatever. It's not. I understand that that's what the beauty standards say, but that doesn't calculate your aura. Now you can have someone gorgeous that has a horrible aura and that will not look attractive. And that's what it is. It's the charisma, it's the vibe, it's the aura, it's what you bring to the table. So again, if you can't sit with yourself, no one else will be able to sit with you as well. So it all starts with yourself. So this is the beauty of creativity. When you create something, no one else can duplicate it. Not even you. You can create two paintings, two exact same paintings. They're not going to be identical to the T. So whatever you put out of your entropy will be fresh, will be creative, and it'll be something new that the world hasn't seen because you had time to rest. You had time to have that bubble up in you and that fire to build in you and to come up with that creativity. So something fresh that the world hasn't seen. So that's how your spirit, your soul speaks, by you letting it speak. If you're constantly interfering it, if you're like, oh, you know what, there's emptiness inside of me, let me just blab out a bunch of things, that's not your spirit talking. That's just your brain blabbing out a bunch of things. That's just like your programming. So when it really comes from the soul, it's because you've had time to digest it. You have time to energize yourself. You have time to be alone with yourself, to enjoy your own presence. You have time to rest. And that means you have time to come up with something incredible by not pushing it, by embracing it, by being grateful for this stage. Very, very important. Very important. It is through individual creativity that all diseases and negative patterns will eventually leave this planet. This is the true meaning of freshness, to be a clear vessel for the creative process so the evolution can move through you and find its way towards a permanent state of eventual love, beauty, and unity. That's how spirit speaks through you, through your creativity. So that's how we're going to find solutions. That's how we're going to eliminate disease. We're going to come with inventions because we're going to be creative. Einstein said it. You can't find solutions with the same thought form or mindset that created the problem. So when global consciousness has now a momentum that led us to several problems, well, we're not going to be able to just look at it and be like, oh, I know how to fix this. So it's not that. It's more going inwards, taking some time off, let it sit with you, the art of contemplation. So the art of contemplation is a different book from Richard Rudd. It's also in this book, briefly mentioned, but you know, I recommend you getting the book so you understand exactly the art of contemplation. Contemplation means to contemplate something for a while. It doesn't mean to you know, make up your mind and come up with a conclusion. It basically means sit with it. Sit with it, digest it, see how it would feel, see how it would be, let's say, and visualize it, what your beliefs would be around it, contemplate it. If you do this, what would happen? If you don't do this, what would happen? What would be the categories where this contemplation should occur? Which categories would affect the most? So contemplation is just, you know, just you sitting with a thought, you know, like it makes me think of, you know, those philosophers with like a pipe in their mouth and they're just, contemplating. So that's what it is. Contemplation is very, very important because a lot of things that are happening, or a lot of new theories, you do not digest it right away. You might see it in different perspectives through different times. So contemplation, that's why it's called the art of contemplation. Contemplation is very, very important. So the first Siddhi of the first gene key is beauty. So you become creative by using the entropy. You become productive, you go unproductive, productive, unproductive. Now you do this at the gift level now, embracing both, the gift and the entropy. So once you're professional on that level and you know that, you know, you have your seasons just like everybody else, and now you're outputting incredible content or incredible art and you're expressing yourself incredibly and you're being, you know, you're called a natural born leader. People come to you for light. People come to you for inspiration. People are labeling you different from everybody else. You stand out from everybody else. You're at the gift level now. People look up to you. They're like, wow, this guy or this girl is super creative. I don't know how they you know, it must be natural. They must be gifted. It must be in their genetics. They must be born with it. No, it's because they came out of the shadow. They come out of that depression. They came out of that franticness of, hey, I got to do something because I'm feeling low. They figured it out. They figured it out and they went beyond the gift, beyond just the expression. They've now hit the Siddhi level, beauty. So now their sheer existence becomes beautiful. Sorry for the noise outside, but it's super hot and I can't really close my window. But so it is what it is. Sorry for the beep beep. But anyways, everything becomes beauty at that level, that Siddhi level. So that's why it's called a divine gift. You don't just get there. It's not like, you know, you come out of the shadow, you put a few paintings out and you're like, yeah, I'm beauty now. It's going to take a bit more time, but at some level, at some point in your life, you're just going to be, your sheer existence is going to be beauty. You're not going to have the shadow anymore. That's going to be long gone. The entropy is not going to be there anymore. And you're not going to have to literally put out gifts or express yourself anymore. You're just going to be able to be. You're going to be grace. You're going to be the sheer beauty in your existence. And anything you say or do will be beautiful. It'll be a divine gift. It'll be unity. It'll be beauty. It'll be freshness at a whole other level. It's like constant freshness. It's beautiful. But again, that's a divine gift. That's where we all want to be at. That's what we're all aiming for. So whether you have this in your hologenic profile or not, like I don't have it, but man, I definitely want it. I'm working towards it. True beauty, when manifested and realized in a human being, presupposes a state of union with the totality. This union or oneness is not like anything we can imagine. Its beauty lies in the fact that it is simply so natural that it cannot be expressed. Every time it has been expressed, it has been misunderstood. The only way to understand this Siddhic state is to die into it, and that means you must die into beauty. When you're labeling beauty, you're making it different from you. You're basically saying that's beauty and I'm different entity because I just labeled it beauty. So when they're saying that, they basically mean, the sheer existence of it all is beauty, is grace. Because if you say that that's beautiful, then you're going to have to say something else isn't. So I would give an example. Is it Picasso? So Picasso, right? A lot of people look at it and they're like, that is not beautiful. How is that beautiful? I remember the first time I saw Picasso, I was like, what is this? What's going on? So how is this art? Like how people pay millions for this, right? So that's what they mean by that. If you label it, you just kind of, you misunderstood it. Something beautiful, its existence is beautiful. You don't need to say it's beautiful. You don't need to label it. You don't need to, separate it by saying this is beautiful versus this or to compare to this. So again, this Siddhic level, the sheer existence of it is beauty. Beauty is the expression of unity in human form. At a lower frequency, we can only comprehend beauty through light or sound. Whether that be a beautiful face, a sunrise, or a piece of music, our notion of beauty is always rooted in the presence of something rather than in its absence. True beauty has a greater connection to absence, to darkness, or silence. But even these words cannot approach it being rooted as they are in the world of duality, language, and opposition. When the first Siddhi dawns inside of you, everything in this cosmos is experienced as beautiful and fresh. Even the shadow state is beautiful. In beauty, nothing lies outside the unity of everything. So when they say, even the shadow phase is beautiful, like some people can be shocked. How is depression beautiful? How dare you? How is me being frenetic and going out there and then trying to bypass what's happening to me beautiful? How could you say that, right? So of course, if you look at it from that perspective, it's not, because it sucks. It sucks to be at home and feeling numb and sad or whatever, It's especially when everyone's out and out there playing or having a great time. Sometimes you just look out the window and you're like, how come that's not me, right? If you look at it from that perspective, yes, it sucks. It sucks big time. Nobody wants that. But if you look at it from the Siddhi level, the divine gift, the enlightened one, right? If you look at it from that, it's perfect. Because you need to be a baby before you can be an adolescent. You need to be an adolescent before you can be an adult, right? Sometimes it sucks to be a kid, depending on what childhood you had. But again, you have to go through these darker levels. And it's part of our evolution. Like, this is all normal. Like, when you're a kid, you're not supposed to know anything. You're supposed to learn, So it's like, this is exactly how it's designed. And you can only see it when you're on the Siddhi level. You can't see it anywhere else. You can't see it when you're inside of it. So once you're at the Siddhi level, because thanks to this route, you got to the Siddhi level, right? You got to the level of beauty. because you've gone through the depressive state and the entropy and then the gift and then the entropy again and then the gift and then the entropy and then just gift, and then just CD, and then you're like, man, that path might have been difficult, but it was so worth it, right? You'll see the beauty in the darkness. You'll see the beauty in your junk DNA, or, in your DNA. You'll see the beauty that's pre-written in the darkness so that you can see the light. And that's what they mean by that. To be awakened in this way is to become a great inspiration to humanity. In the past, many such people have suffered greatly at the hands of the masses. To be so dangerously unique and beautiful as to draw the fire from the forces of jealousy and denial. So individuation, which is Carl Jung, one of the theories that Carl Jung came up with, it's basically become so uniquely yourself, be authentic, be literally who you're supposed to be on the inside without wearing any masks, without pretending to be something that you're not. Individualize yourself, which basically means do everything that you think is right without any influence on the outside. Literally go within and be who you're supposed to be. So this is the same concept. Back in the days, if you did that, you would get shot, you would get killed, you would get assassinated. It's like you can't think differently from everybody else because you'll be a threat. Even if you come up with like amazing theories, you'll be a threat. It's like, oh, now you think you're God, let's kill him. It's not, it wasn't that easy back in the day. But in today's world, and especially with social media, there's nothing more beautiful than being unique and to be authentic and not to be scripted and to, do everything from the heart and from the soul, and to know that everything you say has meaning because you've contemplated it before. So that's basically what that is. So this is why you have like the Michelangelo, or you have this Mona Lisa, or you have these like angels that are perfectly sculpted, because they're the definition of beauty. Unfortunately, global consciousness, our mainstream today, will not call the average person beautiful. They will call gods and goddesses beautiful. They'll call idols beautiful. They'll call, supermodels beautiful. But the average Joe would not be considered beautiful. So that's where the problem is. Every single one of us has the potential of the Siddhic state. Every single one of us can blast on sheer beauty just by breathing. We just haven't gotten, most of us, to that level yet. But it exists and it's there. So as you can see, everyday person is beautiful. And the person that stands out and is extremely different and comes up with freshness and creativity is also beautiful. So again, it's on a spectrum, but we're all in that spectrum. It's not like, beauty starts here and ends here and then you're here. No, we're all in it. It's a question of CD level. How much work have you done on your aura? How much work have you done on your freshness, on your gift? How much work have you done on your shadow? What level are you on your shadow? Are you at the gift now? Are you at the CD level? And that's where you can label yourself on the spectrum. To the Siddhic level, it's not a physical thing. It's all in your vibration. And that's why Tesla said, if you want to understand the world in advance, look at everything through vibration. So in conclusion, you will recall that the foundation of the first gene kia, the shadow frequency, is the field of entropy, in which energy ceaselessly moves from order to chaos. While at the Siddhic level of frequency, where frequency itself is obliterated and transcended, we find ourselves in an internal field of syntropy. Syntropy refers to the movement of energy within infinite dimensions, all imbued with consciousness and all united by order and love. So this basically says that once you're on this CD level, you will never ever feel entropy anymore. Bye-bye depression, bye-bye sadness, bye-bye numbness, adios amigos. It's not there anymore because you've hit the Siddhic level. Your constant, pure output of love, positivity, energy, beauty, grace. So that's, again, the level where we want to be for gene key number 1. So shadow, if it's repressive, it'll go into depression. If it's reactive, it'll go into frenetic. Then you hit the gift level, knowing that entropy is good for you and it's letting you come out with freshness, come out with expressing yourself, coming out with your art. You go back and forth a few times until you get it right. And then, bam, the CD level, your constant high vibe. That's the first gene key. Now, isn't it great to know that if you're feeling bummed or sad, or you don't want to go to work, or you don't feel like going to school, you don't feel like doing anything today, do it. Do it. Don't try to fix it. Don't label yourself depressed. Don't say I need to take a pill to get out of the state. Now you know. The book says, guess where it's going to lead you? It's going to lead you to an incredible, incredible level. And all of it is beautiful from A to Z. So we have a long way to go. Again, I'm not going to talk about all 64 gene keys, because then you're just going to have to look at my videos and never buy the book. So that's not the point. And again, I'm leaving a lot of things out. I'm just going straight to the points. You see how thick this is? It's far from what you should know and what you should read on your own. You can basically do it all and learn about yourself and learn about our evolution. And like I said, everything is perfectly designed. There's no flaw. It's just flaws in our understanding. It's flaws in our coping mechanism. It's flaws in us being in denial of the shadow state and pushing it away or trying to fix it. And by doing that, we're messing everything up. We're literally messing it. You can't be creative by pushing this away. If you're pushing your shadow state away and you're going out partying every day, well, guess what? You're not going to be inspired to come up with anything nice. You might throw up the next day and boom, that's your creativity. It's not going to work. So that's why it's best to stay at home and just disconnect when you feel like disconnecting. If you feel like going for a hike and connecting with nature, definitely do so. No one's there to judge you. No one's there to say anything. You need the open-minded environment. You need the positive environment to be able to grow. So if people are saying anything negative about it, go on your walk regardless, and you'll see you'll feel much better and you'll be thankful. So gene key numero 1, this was great. See you on the next video. So please don't forget to like, to comment, and to subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you know when I release the next video. I'm going to try to do 1 per week, and if I can, I'll do 2 per week. But I'm definitely going to be weekly, so this is going to go pretty fast. And you don't want to binge, because this is a lot of material, and it's not something like where you're like, oh, I'll just catch up watching 10 gene keys in a row. You can, but you're not going to be able to grasp the material so well. So in my opinion, I highly recommend you watch these videos every week as I release them, and we go at a pace where everyone can follow. So like, comment, let me know what you think. I'm super open to feedback, to criticism, constructive criticism. But yeah, this is the template I want to move forward with, and let's all learn together and let's all evolve together. So God bless every single one of you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.